All right, thank you very much. I'm so moved by that last performance, I'm going to express myself in song. Just kidding. The last session emphasized the themes of empathy, inspiration, cooperation. We're going to change all that now. I was asked to talk about political psychology, and I'm going to do that, but what I'm going to do is take you into the brain, not of a chimpanzee, but of a campaign manager, a political campaign manager, how they think, I think this applies to campaign managers in both parties, how they act, how they behave, how they think in order to position their candidates for victory. So here we go. There was like 10 points or something that if you could put those up, that would be great. All right, so here we go. How campaign managers think. And you might think about this as how principles upon which good candidates, good ideas can win in highly difficult political contexts. Okay, so here we go. The first big idea, the first thing you've got to know about the way campaign managers think is that they're always thinking about how can I go on offense and stay on offense? How can I be the aggressor? Not how can I be arrogant, not how can I kick the crap out of my opponent, but how can I mentally go on offense? How can I be the aggressor? Because in politics, when you're backpedaling, when you're defending, when you're explaining, you are losing. But when you are forcing the argument, when you are talking about what you want to talk about, when you're forcing your opponent to talk about what you want to talk about, then you are winning. So this takes a little bit of a warrior's mentality. Maybe drop the little bit. It takes it. You have to wake up every day with the idea that this day, this speech, this press conference is an opportunity for me to make my case. Every day. Because the day you wake up and you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're feeling put upon, you're feeling defensive, that is going to be a bad day. Roll over, go back to sleep. You have got to have the mentality. You have got to have the mentality that, by God, you are not going to let your opponent define you for the rest of society, but instead, you're going to take advantage of the moment to drive your argument. So, when you're in the zone in a political campaign, when you're in the zone, just everything you do pushes that argument. I mean, when Bill Clinton, I used to work for Bill Clinton, when he was at his best in the 1992 campaign, every day was a chance to talk about the economy. I mean, if he was asked by a reporter, is the sky blue? That was a chance to talk about the economy. Now, how would you do that? You would be minimally responsive to the reporter. You would say yes. You would concede the obvious. You would say yes, the sky is blue. But you can do this. But the economy is raining on millions of Americans who don't have the jobs that they need to have. That's when you're in the zone. I mean, you have to have a little bit of a swagger. You have to have a little bit of a swagger. You got to be like my Pee Wee League baseball coach. We played 7 innings in Athens, Ohio, and he would say, when it was the bottom of the 7th, I do not care if there are 8 other people on the field with 2 outs that are saying, don't hit the ball to me, don't hit the ball to me, don't hit the ball to me. Be the one guy on the field that is saying, hit the ball to me, I will make the play. And you have got to have that attitude, that little swagger, which falls short of arrogance, to play offense in the political framework in which campaigns exist. All right, so that's my first big point. Be the aggressor. Now you can say, okay, fine. I get it. I'm going to be the aggressor. How do I operationalize that? Here's how you do it. You figure out what your competitive advantage is. What is the message contrast vis-a-vis your opponent that is the most powerful? And when you have figured that out, you drive it, you drive it, you drive it with discipline and gusto until people hear it and they vote on it and they remember it when they go to the ballot box. And this is so hard to do. People will say sometimes, but you know, what you guys do in the political world, it's not rocket science. And it's not. But sometimes it's harder than rocket science to get this right, to get this right. I'll go through a quick history of presidential campaigns, and you will see what I'm talking about. 1992, what was Bill Clinton's essential message for the presidency? It was captured in the words of James Carville, "It's the economy, stupid." We remember that 18, 19 years later. We remember it. What was President Bush's argument for election? We have no idea. We don't remember. 1994 midterms. Newt Gingrich, he's from here, isn't he? What was his argument? What was the contract? It was the contract with America. We remember it. I mean, there are people here who are 19 years old and they've heard of it. That's good political messaging. People got what he was talking about. The Democrats were defensive. They were running away from President Clinton. There was no essential Democratic message. What was Bill Clinton building in 1996? He was building the bridge to the 21st century. You can go see it in Little Rock at the Presidential Museum. We don't know exactly what he meant by that, but we know Bob Dole couldn't build that bridge. We know it. What was in 2000? George W. Bush's election. What was his theme? He didn't run a perfect campaign, but there were elements of it's your money, clean up the White House. People kind of got it. What was Al Gore's message? Somebody help me. See, it's really hard. Okay, the point is, it's for all the money, for all the ads, for all the speeches, for all the appearances. It's really, really, really hard to remember what Al Gore's theme was. What could it have been? Be a political consultant for a second. How about peace and prosperity? Let's keep a good thing going. But he didn't get it. He didn't hit it. He would have won by 5-6 points, I assure you, had that been the theme. 2004, what was George W. Bush's theme in that election, his re-election? National strong leadership during tough times or something like that. But people who are saying national security, that's right. What was John Kerry's? Flip-flopper, not what he was trying to communicate. Somebody said, I'm a veteran. Not quite enough. 2008, Barack Obama. That's good political messaging. All right? So, be the aggressor. Wake up every day, bound and determined that this day is an opportunity to drive your message. Get the message right. It is that contrast versus your opponent that represents your core competitive advantage. Okay? Now, oh, we got something up there. Okay. Now, don't move the page because I'm adding something. The Rovian counterthrust. Okay? And this is really important for everybody to. There are thousands and thousands of Republican political operatives who act in this way, and it works sometimes. The Rovian counterthrust, Karl Rove knows that you're going to do this. He knows that you're going to try to drive your competitive advantage. So what does he do? He says, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to take away what you think is your competitive advantage. Somebody said that John Kerry ran on, I'm a veteran. And certainly he did. His bio, I'm reporting for duty. First words out of his mouth at the National Convention. What did Karl Rove do? It is now a verb, as in to be swift-boated, where he found people that supposedly served with John Kerry. And here's a guy with shrapnel still in his legs. But they claimed that he was somehow missing or not brave enough. And John Kerry didn't think that was worthy of a rebuttal. Al Gore, somebody said, I invented the internet. Did Al Gore ever say he invented the internet? No, he did not. And Al Gore certainly thought that whatever they'll say about me, they're going to give me credit for intelligence and integrity. But he looked like a buffoon because he supposedly said, I invented the internet. John McCain certainly thought that being a POW would be an advantage in the South Carolina primaries against George W. Bush in the year 2000. By the time Karl Rove got done with him, people wondered if he had his head still on straight. The Rovian counterthrust, that is 2A, okay? Watch for it. It will come. Now 3. Where's 3? Okay. If you're really, really, really good at this stuff and that you got 2 right and you drove your competitive advantage, then you could spend some time figuring out your competitive disadvantage and taking steps to eliminate it. I worry about even putting this up here because candidates spend way too much time doing this. They should spend 90% of their time driving their competitive advantage, 10% maybe at this. What kind of conservative was George W. Bush? A compassionate conservative. Why? He did not want to be perceived as the same big blue meanie as the Republicans that hounded Bill Clinton to impeachment. He was a different kind of Republican. Why did John McCain choose Sarah Palin? Because he there's a reason. There's a reason. The reason is he was getting killed on change in a change election. And he didn't want to be killed anymore. And he didn't think experience would beat change in 2008. So he was going to do what he could to make up the difference. So he was a maverick for a while. Okay? All right, where are we? One point I want to stick another point in here. Now having, those 3 things are really the keys. The rest of this, it's interesting, and but the first 3 things are really the key. But for those of you who might be future campaign managers or candidates, know the limits of strategy. As smart as, maybe some of us think we are sometimes, the fact is I sat in a graduate class when I was getting my master's in public policy, and I had a teacher say that you can explain presidential elections to an astonishing extent if you know a lagged variable of the change in disposable income per capita. If you know that, it will explain 95% of what happens on election day. So it's the rate of change in disposable income per capita during the summer that really matters. It's too late if it starts moving in October. And for those of you who are professors here, you never know who's soaking this stuff up, because we added in the '92 presidential campaign of Bill Clinton a variable of a lag variable of disposable income per capita into our electoral college targeting, and we won 31 out of the 32 states that we targeted. So you never, ever know. But it is worth understanding that there are limits to the importance of strategy. There's a book out called The 13 Keys to the Presidency, and 5 of those keys revolve around huge issues of national import plus the incumbency. So, okay, know your targets. Getting to 50% is the key to winning. You need 270 electoral college votes to be president of the United States. If you try to win all 538, you may fail to get to 270. This may be obvious, but this is really hard to actualize in practice. If you're a Democrat running for president, should you spend a lot of time in Utah? No. They hate us. They don't want us. So it's not a big issue, really. But should you spend a lot of time in Massachusetts? I want you to think about this one. It's a trick question. The answer is no, because the day we lose Massachusetts, it is a 50-state wipeout. We don't need to go, but they love us. They want us there. They call all the time. You gotta be tough. You gotta be strong. Bill Clinton in the '92 campaign, though, he is the candidate. He said, I really think we can win Mississippi and Wyoming. We're like, oh my God. No. We said, we're going to go in the last week to Mississippi and Wyoming. It's his campaign at the end of the day. And we went. And did we win? No. I mean, we won the presidency. We did not win Mississippi or Wyoming. But he did go to Ohio 4 times in the last week. And we won by a percentage point. This may be obvious. It is really hard to be disciplined enough to make this work. All right. Try to move quickly. Okay, when attacked, especially when the attack hits you on a point of vulnerability. Forget point of vulnerability. When the attack hits you on your core argument. If you get attacked, if you're John Kerry and you are running on your bio, and a large part of that bio is what you did in Vietnam, and you get attacked on that, you've got to know that that's one you respond to. I mean, I would always take the risk of responding too much, but when an attack goes to the heart of your core argument for election, you had better respond. You had better respond early, often, with effectiveness, and you should be ready to respond before the attack ever comes. And therefore, the phone call that when Josh calls you, and you think Josh has got it in for you, and you can't believe that he's going to kill you the way that he's going to kill you, and you're sweating about, that's the call you return. That is the call you return. because Josh is going to write the story with you or without you, and I assure you that for 99% of the reporters out there, the story will be better if you engage the reporter even a little. Okay, 6, be disciplined, stay on message. Have the courage to be repetitive. You know a campaign is all screwed up when they are running 3 ads at the same time in the same media market. Far better to run 1 ad. 7. Let's go to 8. Create an organizational culture that permits the sharing of information. In order to be a good political messenger, you need to create a culture that allows the sharing of information. I believe Barack Obama is president today and Hillary Clinton is not because he established this kind of culture. 9, speak to values and big ideas, not small facts. Especially those of us who love public policy, we tend to love facts. Well, that is not the way to communicate. It's important to know the facts, but it is even more important if you want to be a good political communicator to be able to speak the way a preacher would speak, which is to elevate the discussion to big ideas and big values, and when you can do that, you're well on your way to winning. And 10, be a long-term player, accept losses with dignity. Losing is not fatal. Every single person who gets involved in political life will lose. You'll lose. It will happen. I once had my picture in Time magazine. It said, loser of the week. So every election, 50% in the general election lose. Then you have the primaries, so 75, 80% of the candidates for any office lose. So the question isn't whether you're going to lose. The question is what you do when the loss comes. And I think the lesson of TED, as best as I understand it, is that if you have that big idea that energizes your life, you can deal with the losses when the losses come. Because there is no such thing, ultimately, as a lost cause. There are only battles not yet won. And with that, I'll wrap it up. Thank you.